Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Sue, returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
Feeling the weight of the city? Longing for a moment of profound calm just for you or with someone else? Someone special? At Somatic Massage Therapy and Spa, your urban sanctuary right here in New York, nestled on the border of Queens and Nassau County in beautiful Floral Park, we invite you to melt away the stress. Imagine this: 60 or 90 minutes of pure therapeutic bliss. Picture warm, smooth, hot stones gliding over your tired muscles, easing every knot, feeling the comforting embrace of hot towels, melting away tension. This isn't just a massage, it's an escape, a reset for your mind and your body. First-time guests experience our 15-minute introductory therapeutic massage session for just $89, a $125 value. For couples, reconnect and unwind side-by-side, sharing an unforgettable journey to tranquility. Somatic Massage Therapy and Spa, your New York haven is waiting. Visit us at 113 Jericho Turnpike in Floral Park. Book your escape now. Call 516-686-9557. Text 516-447-4373. Or find us online at somaticmassagepc.com. That's somaticmassagepc.com. somaticmassagepc.com. Ask about our flexible memberships. No contractual, cancel anytime for continuous well-being. Or give the gift of relaxation with the Somatic gift card. Your moment of peace is just a click away. What's the fastest way to get indexed by search engines? You are definitely welcome to this amazing series where we have been going on consistently talking about something that is very important to you. And the more important you take this, the faster you're able to take it and learn from it. So we have been talking about different things. We've talked about yesterday, why am I marketing SEO efforts, especially for marketing businesses and people who want to market their business online. Why is it not working? How long does it take to rank SEO web pages on Google? Why isn't my website ranking on Google or AI brand mentions? There's free and paid podcasting hosting dashboards. There's email marketing. There's monetization for podcasting. There are different things that you can think about that will get you to those top positions. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself as a business owner, as a marketer, as somebody who's running a business operation, how well do people know about what I give so that when I say what I have, it's not hard for them to understand? Because sometimes we're trying to explain what our business is doing or what we do for our business or what we do with our business, that the businesses become more, I'll say it's like a diluted version instead of it being a concentrated version of your business. Because when you're creating content online, the goal is to be seen, heard, and remembered. Welcome Abimbola, RD, Carl, Kobe, Austin, and Joe. Thank you for being here, Joe, too. Just wanted to let you know that we have the marketing club open, so feel free to cash in your tickets so that you can be a member with us. It's great to have you here, as well as Ariane. Thanks for being here. It's a global app. It's a global space, so I know that different time zones are upon us, if I can say it like that, if I put it into like a different kind of like, make it nice and light. But I'm really happy that we're all here listening from all over the world. So thank you for being here as well, Reggie. What's the fastest way to get indexed by search engines? The fastest way to get indexed by search engines is to understand the people you're connecting with by starting off with conversations that you answer in form of website links that you give. That's how it starts. And you give those websites to other websites so that other websites can link to your website. That's really it. Like, we can even close this discussion now. But you'd be like, no, let's keep going. Because if you really think about this, what I just said, and just rewind this and just think about it. Just think about it for a second. The fastest way to get indexed by search engines is to have the fastest road or the fastest route or the fastest pathway or the fastest roadmap. Meaning that if you have a destination, you're trying to go to one place, if I have 3 options to get to that same destination and the person that is racing or driving next to me or the person that I'm going to get to the same destination as has 7 ways to get there. The person that has 7 ways to get there has more ways to get to that place faster than I have with 3. So when you think about the fastest way to get indexed by search engines, in fact, I thought about it and said by Google, and I was like, wait, I don't want you to think about Google only, because when you start thinking about Google only, you forget about other search engines, right? There's Microsoft Bing, there is Pinterest, there's YouTube, right? These are search engines. There's Yandex. Welcome, Shay. Hey, Judith. Glad to have you here. There's Naver, there's Ecosia, there is Yext, there's so many. It's not just Google. And now we have LLMs, which is large language models. That's your ChatGPT. I see you, Shay. Appreciate you. Judith, I need to learn. Please, we have workshops, by the way, just to let you know, because I know it's usually, I say this really in between the room, but please click the link above and choose the option for in-person / virtual workshops so that you don't miss out on the workshops that I'll be having, because towards the rest of this year, I'm going to be having live workshops so that you can visually see what I'm showing you, because I can talk about it all day, but it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense and you can't see it, then it's a missed message, or it's a missed opportunity, or if it's actually a missed target, because now you can't get to the point and it's hard to even see that because it's not in view. So I want to make sure that we can get off the audio and move into visual so that we can have an audio visual experience in form of a workshop. So I'm working on something like that, and I wanted to let you know. So please, Judith, I'd love to reach out. And if there's whatever you want to learn, please put in the chat, because I'd love to know what you want to learn about, because there's so much about marketing and SEO and AI that it's kind of overwhelming for some people. And I really want to make it just simple and basic and also tactical, so you can use it for a strategy with your marketing plan, so that you can do that easily. So yeah, I would love to hear that in a timely manner too. So you connect your websites to search engines. So I gave you the example of somebody that has 3 routes to one destination. The other one has 7. That means if I have 3 destinations, I have Google, I have Microsoft, and I have Yahoo. I'm just giving you random examples. So that means I have 3 destinations. That means you can only find me through these 3 routes. If I was to turn it on and watch an F1 racing car race, if I can say it like that, and I'm watching this racing game, I'm watching the experience, I'm watching them go through the laps, I'm watching the marathons, I'm watching everything move. I'm like, whoa. Because I can see them on the track is a reason why I can identify who they are. If I can't see them on the track, that means I can't tell you who's driving. Oh, it's not Lewis Hamilton. I don't know. Is it him? because I can't see them, but it could be because it has happened before. So when you start realizing like, yeah, because you've been seen on the TV or you've been seen in action, it's because you're within an ecosystem that people are used to seeing you. So if people are not used to seeing you on Google, how are you going to be seen when people need to find you? It's kind of like a vicious cycle, right? And we want to figure this out, and we're trying to understand it together. Okay, what's the fastest way to get indexed by search engines? Because there are many ways to get search engines across the web, but you really have to think about what you're giving, because I can rank for something very basic, but it can really go a long way. And you may be surprised that you've been doing this all along and you realize, oh, if this worked, then if I do this again, it should work again. So every time we're looking for a solution, we're looking for something that works. So when it works and it's working, then we don't have to stop the process. We have to trust the process. So when the process is being built by building trust with the algorithms, the search engines, it builds time. I've seen articles. There's a client that I just got an email that she's just received, a milestone with Google because now she's got her first 10 clicks. And this has been after about 6 months of just putting like tens and hundreds of articles. And sometimes you wonder, okay, hey, Fanya and Dinesh, welcome. And you wonder, okay, that's weird. How do you have all these articles and yet in 6 months, you're only showing up for the first 10 clicks? That's strange. Hey, Vanessa. And you're like, huh? Well, that's strange. So what could have been happening? Why have all these other articles not been working? Because I could have easily said, hey, the fastest way to get indexed by search engines is to write more content. And then you'd be like, okay, Favour said write more content. And then when the content is not moving or being seen, it's like, okay, but he said content. No, I didn't say content. The fastest way to get indexed by search engines is by building trust. When you build trust with somebody that you know, that is your friend, that is your family, that is your loved one, that is someone you cherish, you care for, you will take that in a relationship as a very fragile, protective, and helpful relationship. And healthy too, because you want each side to win. I want you to win, you want me to win. Like, we can't do without the other. You need your left hand, right hand. You can't do your left without your right. So when you start thinking about building relationships, you're building them from within. So if I want to get to index myself on Google, it means that I need to say something on Google that Google can understand, that if it responds that question or gives that answer as a respondent to somebody who asked that question on google.com, then I should be the reason why Google is referring me to that person instead of you. And that way that is being referred to is based on trust. And how is that trust established? It's established when you have other third-party websites like Google that trust Google, that can show Google that your website has authority to be on Google. In other words, if you have your website on Reddit, if you have a link, you post it on Reddit. If you have a link, you post it on Trustpilot. You have a link, you post it on LinkedIn. You have a link, you post it on Pinterest. When you start linking your links from your website, those links start to turn into backlinks. And those backlinks may not look like actual backlinks, but those are off-page SEO referring domains that could actually be backlinks. They may not have high impact, but they have low impact and high credibility. So don't just say, oh, this is how authentic can you show up for the low, medium, and high value. So it's going to be very interesting to, talk about this today. Hey, Julie, how are you?
Oh, hey, Faves. It's me, Julie. How are you? How are you? Oh, Austin is here. Reggie, Carl, Kobe, Maria, Cheryl, Jeffrey, Savannah, Judith. Judith joined the marketing club. I love myself some Judith Cletty. I'm really great. And you know why I really wanted to come in here? Because I wanted to debate with you, and I'm not going to change the subject, Favor, but I think SEOs are a thing of the past, and we need to think about AEOs and GEOs. But I know you know that.
Julie, you've come with some heat today, so let's talk
Let's
about this.
debate the news. Just kidding.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Austin doesn't like that very much. He's like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but we gonna see. All right, this is a great question, Julie, and I feel like a lot of people ask this question: do you need SEO? Okay, yeah, everybody. It's like SEO is this balloon. Honestly, I feel like just popped at the middle of nowhere, and then for some reason, you look at the balloon and you're like, oh, that's different. And then you look back, you're like, oh, but it's supposed to be there. It's it's weird because it's like I hear a lot of people say, oh, you need SEO, and then some people say you don't need SEO. Some people say you need a website. Some people say you don't need a website. Some people say you need email marketing. Some people say you don't need email marketing. So who's wrong? Who's right? It's like the Spider-Man. Like, why are we pointing at each other? It's a little weird because it's like, where do we go from here when we start thinking about the major goal that we want to achieve, which is driving conversation and driving credibility? Because Julie, you asked this now about, SEO and GEO and AEO. It's like comparing oil and water because you can't put ChatGPT in the same bracket as Google because
But does Google love ChatGPT?
Google loves
I'm
certain.
stirring this up for Dr. Austin downstairs. And I'm just saying this. I'm kind of being funny, Favor, but um, I want you to know that I am a doctor and I know a lot of stuff about this. And I'm just kidding. I am a doctor of law, but I want to know like this is what fat, and I know you know everything and I don't. So I'm joking around a little bit, but Google and AI, I think, are something synergistic, and we can't focus. Of course, I focus on Google, but like the chat GPTs are have the possibility of kind of eclipsing Google too. So let's talk. I'm sorry if I'm changing the subject, but I just want you to tell me what is going on.
Actually, this is good. This is good information. I feel like this is what people are thinking about too. Because if this is the same question you're thinking about, let me ask the chat. Let's ask if this is the same question you've been thinking about, put a one in the chat. If this has been something you've been thinking
We could do
about,
a poll.
yeah, we can do a poll. I really want to see this.
Maybe no one's thinking about it, but they want to think about it. I don't know what optimizes your content to the best ability, because I always like this is a new thing for me. I always do everything for Google because I want everyone. I have a Google Knowledge Panel. I didn't even know, like when I got it, I didn't even know what it was. But everything I did was to optimize my content for Google. Now I'm like, maybe I need to optimize my content for AI. And this is a very interesting topic. Again, I hope I'm not changing it. And guys, please be nice if you don't like this, what I just said.
No, I love this. No, thank you. Thank you for bringing this up. Let me say it this way real quick. When you look at ChatGPT, when you look at Perplexity, Cloud, Meta, Grok, name them. There are about 8 of them right now. And when you look at each of them, look at them as, yes, marketing club rules, Jules. Ooh, see what I did there?
Pierre is very excited, I could tell.
Hey.
He's in the library, so he can't get too excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad you remember that, Julie.
See how wait,
Go ahead, Faith.
can I get a one in the chat if anyone heard how excited Pierre is about the library?
This is exciting. I love it. This is what we talk about. You see, brand mentions, right? Is something that is happening that I believe is important. And I feel like AI is the yang to SEO's yin. Because the yin and the yang with SEO and AI is that if you can source out information from both sources, because you can use both. You can use Google, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Perplexity, you can use Bing. They're not competing against each other. They're kind of like interdependent, and they're able to still seamlessly connect because they're working from a server citation brand based, I'll call it a large language model basis. So when you're now thinking about ranking for ChatGPT, you're essentially saying, am I going to be mentioned as a brand, as a citation on this answer search engine, on this generative answer or generative engine within the servers? Because when you look at the answers that are coming out on AI mode or even AI overview, if you look at those results, especially if you note this, and this is what I've been seeing. So if you check this out and this is your industry, it's an opportunity for you to actually take off and try it out. If you look at the AI overview and you look at the date stamp, and the date stamp tells you that the last article or the top 2 articles you see there are last modified or at least last updated, because they could be last modified recently, and that's why they're showing up first, because it was first published that you'll see. But if it was last modified and first modified way more than the actual time cycle, then I would say like 3, 6, 12 months out. Let's say it's an article you saw that was written back in February 2024, and you open it and it wasn't updated to any 2025 modification page or version. That means when you look at tokenization, there's something called tokenization with SEO. It's just another way of saying the original copy is your sitemap. Your map is what you're giving to the server to now take a snapshot, a duplicate copy of your print. That's why with Google Maps, you can also go offline. You can do offline maps with Google, because you can turn off your maps, but you still have the print, right? Like back in the day when you used to use print with your map, you have to print out the map so you can use the map. So when you think of the same logic, the same fundamental basic is, if my website is last updated and it's been submitted to the search engine that people are searching from, with the right brand mention and also with the right answer to the questions people are frequently asking, which is in the form of a question-based heading, then if I have that question that people also ask on Google showing up verbatim or exactly within my web page on my website, within that question layer, and I'm answered it succinctly with evidence, which will help too, because you can also put backlinks, or I would even say like external links or even internal links to other context pages that you've more of gone deeper into topic layering of understanding what the concept of the message or the keyword or even the query is. So when you fulfill that query and you've answered that question that people are asking on Google, then ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud, Gemini, whichever search engine they are, AI wise, will artificially connect you back to your source. Because when you start looking at your context, you start realizing that you even become more detailed with how you even show up, Julie. So for example, if you're talking about, let's say, food, random example of food, and let's say somebody wants to make chicken recipes or they want to make salmon recipes. Now, if I'm looking for the best salmon recipes to eat for dinner, that is a very specific question. I'm not looking for it for breakfast, for lunch, a midnight snack. It's dinner. So if I am going to write context about how to create this experience for this user, and I sell baking products, or I sell cooking products, or I sell cooking utensils, or I'm an affiliate of Amazon, however you're doing it as a business, and you're driving traffic to that page because people are looking for best salmon dishes to eat for dinner, then I would now create a commercial blog and create the top 10 options that I can refer, or as a chef or through my experience. And that way, if anyone's going to ask ChatGPT that question, the only reason why I'm showing up on that ChatGPT result, like you said, Julie, is because ChatGPT is sourcing from Google as well. these AI servers are sourcing from the traditional search engines. So that's why I was talking about the yin and the yang. So when you now connect the dots and you realize that people are asking questions, those questions are being answered by web links that are linking back to questions that are within the format, which is a HTML format. So if you just really look at the reverse engineering of everything, if you have a video that has salmon recipes, you have a table, you have a recipe book, you have pictures, you have alt text, you have the keywords, you're doing everything correctly. And then at the same time, you're connected to the search engines, which is the topic for today. How do you get connected to search engines? Is when you're able to connect that search engine to Google. So Julie, remember when we connected one of the websites to the search engines through Search Console?
Yes.
So that specific task is like getting the key to your house when you buy it. Or the first time you buy your house, it's like getting a key to your house, because without those keys, you can't get into your house. So that key is a unique identification number, which is a TXT record. And that's what you copy and you paste it into your DNS record. So I think about DNS like our DNA. Like everybody has their own specific DNA. Like everybody is specific. The way God made them, the way God made us, specifically to our DNA, right? No, there's no two DNAs. Even twins don't have the same DNA. So a DNS is a domain name server. So that DNS is a unique code that is identically connected to you as the property owner of that domain. So if you're not the property owner of that domain, it's impossible for me to own that property, because that's actually illegal. That's not good, because you don't own that property. So why do you have ownership of something you don't have a title to? So when you have that a specific keyword or that specific tag that you're given by Google, they just say copy and paste it. When you paste it, it's going to turn green. When it turns green, there are three colors. There is red. Let me not say red. Red is, I was thinking about removals. There are three. Let me say it this way. There is red. Let me put it this way. There's red, and it's in the form of, it would show you like a bar, like a pop-up bar. It will say, you're not connected. The other one is kind of like in the middle, it's neutral. It's going to be gray. And that's where everybody starts, right? And that's where, if you've never connected it before, that's what you get when you click start now. So when you click start now, it's going to give you two options. It's going to say, put your domain. Then there's another URL prefix, right? Or prefix. When you look at those tags, when you look at the little icons above them, the one to the left that has domain has a little blue icon. And that little blue icon is at the top of the hierarchy. So that means any other subdomain that's coming from that domain or from that top level domain is going to be operated within that architectural structure of that domain. So like with your house, you go in through the front or the back because there's a key to both ends. So when you do that as the same concept for your domain, that domain is now going to have access to pages. And that's how you're able to submit your sitemap, your product sitemap, your blogs, all those things that you have, your indexes. Those are the things that Google is reading on a daily basis. Now, sometimes it may read after a few days, sometimes it may read after a few hours. So let's say for you, Julie, because you are consistent in writing, Google is going to give you a higher priority crawl budget. In other words, because you consistently post, your last modification has a higher average score than someone else that has a lower average score. So for example, if you write once a week and your competitor writes twice a month, or even once a month, you're going to have a higher priority as a referral or as a suggestion from Google, as opposed to the person that you're competing with, because that other person doesn't have as much velocity as you. So if you're doing that consistently, ChatGPT is going to pick up from Google because Google is picking up from your site map. So everything is interconnected. And it just takes you creating those URLs, those uniform resource locators that you're matching through questions answered and topics responded to through explanation in form of text. And then that's how you're able to now catch as context when somebody's looking for it through an Alexa, a Siri, a Google, or a ChatGPT, for example. Does that help, Julie?
Hey, Favor, this is Pierre. I like the oh, Julie just disappeared. She'll be back in a second, I'm sure. Just want to say I like the connection that you're making with site maps and for blog posts, and particularly about how much of that ties into with Chat GPT, and also really Gemini and Claude at some level. All these models are if they're not using reasoning models in the background to provide you with answers, they're starting to show more of the reasoning, which means you're seeing a little bit more description of what they are thinking before they give you a response to the prompt. And a lot of that is dependent on when they go to the web, they're more and more dependent on a lot of the content and how you're managing it at the site. So I love how you're sharing that.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, it's a big deal. These are the things that will really help because AI right now, I think this would just be like the meat and potatoes that will just coin everything together.
Yeah, and they're even adding that for things like for Search Console as well. There's a couple of things now where Google is trying to allow metrics or at least some of the information from Search Console to allow their Gemini to integrate with that, and a lot of that will end up feeding AI mode and AI overview in Gemini, helping people understand or see what sort of contents or what at least topics are from your website at some level may be getting picked up by AI as well when there's a search going on as well.
You know what's interesting that you said something I want to just highlight too. When you think about mentions right now, and anyone that's listening to this, there are four types of media: owned media, paid media, shared media, and earned media. So your website is owned media, and you're getting earned media impressions from brand mentions of the AI search engines. So when you're being searched on ChatGPT, you could be position 3, but on Grok, you could be position 5. On Perplexity, it could be position 2. So the same way you could be position 2 on Google, you could be position 3 on Bing. So those are going to be different metrics and variables to see who's getting more brand mentions within an overhaul or within an overall setting. And then you can look at the wider scope and see how you can match those. Because when you start looking at the different mentions, you realize that AI right now is focusing on the last mod, meaning that if you have an article on your website, today is August 8th, 2025. If you have an article that was written and was never updated as far back as August 7th, 2023, it means that that article will not show up on any AI server because the same thing you wrote about 2+ years ago has been written over 2 billion times because there are over 2 billion blogs already plus. So if you look at the time threshold and the way you're able to change your last mod from modified last August 7, 2023 to last mod August 8, 2025, that's a big switch because that means that that page that was dormant has now become active. And because it's active, it's been reacting back to the server, letting the server know that, hey, I've been here for 2 years. I talked about this 2 seasons ago, or 2 summers ago, or 2 falls ago. Now I can still talk about it today and still talk about it next year because I had something to talk about the first time. So that's why when you start writing articles the first time, that's your seeding time because you have about 24 months to really look at how you can stretch this and really get millions of impressions a day or impressions a week or impressions a month, which is very possible with one page. You don't need a lot of pages on your website to get traffic. It's the ones that the people are looking for. You're just writing content, but the more context you get, the more relationships you build. So I love that you're able to put that, Pierre, and welcome, John. How are you?
Hey, John.
I'm well, everybody. Thank you. Just in the kitchen doing some things. So, hope you're having a great Friday and enjoying yourselves, a productive one as well. I have had a really good day. You know, my wife's been ill, so I'm tuning in, listening to what you got to say.
Praying for your wife, John, and and that she's going to be feel better soon. Hope she'll get better, get well soon. Wishing her all the love, all the chocolate, all the flowers, and just send her love our way, please. Thank you so much.
Will do.
This is a great conversation, y'all. And I am very happy we're talking about this today. And there's something that I really want to bring to your attention that if you paying close attention to this is going to help you long term, because there's two sides of the coin when I looked at the word indexing. And this is also going to be to Judith's point at the top of the chat when you said my website isn't engaging enough and underutilized. If I look at the amount of time you spend on, let's just draw a line. Like, let's just, if you get a paper, just draw a line in the middle of your A4 paper, and on the left side, put in hours how much time you spend creating from start to finish on social media. And then on the other side of the paper, put in hours how many hours you spend posting, creating content from start to finish, however it is, from sketch, from draft to publish on your website in hours, and then match those hours by a weekly basis. Like today's Friday. So if you look at from Monday through Friday and you match how many hours you've put in, and I think some of us have, if you're using an Apple iPhone, or if you're using a Samsung or any other device, check your screen time and then see how much hours you spent on those platforms compared to your website, and then do the return on investment time-wise and see how much you're getting back. Julie, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead. Julie's mic was on mic. I thought you wanted to say something. That's why I wanted to give you some time. Oh, no, you're good. So if you look at that time balance sheet, let's call it that. It's not a money balance sheet, it's a time balance sheet, right? So when you ask yourself, how much time have I spent on the left and how much time have I spent on the right? And then you do the evaluation and say, okay, if I spent 2 hours on my website that I spent on social media, I could be 2 months ahead of my competition because I wrote something 2 months before it became in season. And that's where that last modification comes in. Because on one side of the coin for indexing, there's something called manual index. On the right side of the coin, there's something called auto indexing. It's like manual shift. If you think about, driving your car and it's a stick shift, then you know that you're going to have that manual driving, right? But if you're going to do automatic driving, then there's going to be an automatic flow, right? And you look at it from the point of control and also automation. You want to see how things can flow without you having to control it. That's why when you're scaling your business too, you don't want to do as much as you were doing in your first year, because you want to be focusing on higher tasks or more or higher impact full tasks, as opposed to smaller big tasks, if I could put it that way. Because small big tasks could be, okay, we launched a website. Oh, we had this, achievement award. Those things happen. They're small big wins, but when you think about the big wins, you're looking at it from a macro perspective. So you're thinking, okay, if I spend 2 hours writing an article exactly focusing on this topic, then I know within the next 24 months, in the next 2 years, I've spent 2 hours to leverage 2 years of data. So when you're now looking at the compound effect of that, it's really dependent on how fast you want this to be indexed. Because you could be writing articles all day and they're not being seen on the web because, one, they're not manually indexed. 2, they're not being discovered by Google. 3, they're probably not even connected to the search console. So you're already getting 3 no's before 1 yes. But that doesn't mean that 1 yes cannot be achieved. The more no's you get, the better your yeses are going to be, because you're going to be better refined and also more aware of what you shouldn't do. So when you start creating content and you're creating content to be ranking on the search engines are supposed to find you as a resource. Just like we say, money is supposed to be a servant. It's not supposed to be a master. If it's a master, then it beats the purpose. So if your content is going to be the servant, then if you're serving content online, you're serving content by creating content through links that people are clicking through, which are going to be in form of emails, in form of web links, in form of affiliate links, in form of referral links, whatever links you're going to call them, they're still going to be links. So there has to be a link between the two to make sure that it's a match. Yes, Pierre.
Hey, Favor. I was going to also add as well too. I mean, much of this is going to be about the tip I always usually tell people that SEO is one of those things that it's almost like mowing the lawn or doing laundry. It's just one of those things you have to do to kind of shake up and see what's there. And make adjustments. And I think the biggest thing with content too is to keep in mind that particularly for the AI now, you really are looking at the topics that come up and kind of see what content you have versus the topics that come up. And for SEO, it was always about search. But I think even with AI, it's also about questions that people are asking. So for example, let's say if you have if you're a bakery and your specialty is on apple cobblers and peach cobblers, but you're finding that people are asking a little bit more about apple pie or maybe peach pie, and maybe those questions are a little bit more about how people are ingredients for baking it versus coming to purchase it. Those sort of things are triggering different types of conversations and discussions that you write content for or create content for that should be addressing it. One quick tip I would give that may be a good SEO or a good content creation decision or aid is to look into something like a notebook LM and create maybe an AI-based space, something where you have links to your articles, and let's say that you have videos. So, for example, let's say if Julie is at our baker, and she may have written, over the last couple of years, she may have written like articles on, again, apple cobblers or peach cobblers. But she finds that when she goes over everything, she's done a lot for with videos, maybe interviews for podcasts and things that have been stuck on YouTube. She could use a tool like Notebook LM, put the links onto the side, and then kind of use a little bit of AI to ask questions, to summarize quickly, what are the topics that are coming up between the articles and the videos she's done. So by doing this, it kind of gives you a little bit of a listing of things that you can then kind of plan for your next round of articles to maybe adjust to have more articles out there for AI searches to discover and use, as much as Favour has talked about here. So just keep in mind, it really should feel like a gathering exercise and kind of almost like think of it as a milepost, because I think for every business, you start off with an SEO strategy, but that strategy gets altered depending upon the products and services you have and what people are talking about for those products and services. And your job as a business owner is to try to align to that as best as possible. So Favour, I hope that helps and adds to the conversation too.
It does. Thank you. Breaking it down like that makes it easier for someone to understand why this is important, because when you have a conversation with someone, it makes sense. And that's why you look at media, entertainment, it's always about the updates. SaaS, software, tech, it's always about the updates. There's an update, or update your Tesla, or update your phone, or update your OS, or update your something. It's always an update. So AI now is ChatGPT 5. That's an update. So there's always going to be something updating. So if you're not aware, then where are you going to be found when people are looking for your product, your service? So now is the time to really start looking at AI differently, as opposed to it being as an enemy or as a scarcity or as I don't know what to do. Because right now you could be ranking for ChatGPT, but you could be nowhere to be seen on DeepSeek. That's possible. Just like you can be seen on Google and you can be nowhere to be found on Bing. It's possible. So when you start thinking about distributing your content, you want to distribute your content in places that people can find it. That's why it's good to distribute your content like a blog as you would with a podcast. It's literally the same thing. That's why when I look at SEO, Pinterest, marketing, I look at it with the same scope. I just change the lens because I'm like, okay, this is probably a different perspective. This is for this audience, this is for that, but the fundamentals are still the same. For example, with a blog, when you have a website as a blog, you need a sitemap. If that sitemap is not submitted to the search engines can read because there's something called submitted sitemap. There's a date that you first submitted and there's a date that it's last updated or it's last scanned. So think about it like your front two wheels of the car and then your back two wheels of the car. The back two wheels of the car never turn left or right. It's the front two wheels of your car that move left to right based on your steering wheel, right? So the back two wheels is the first time you index your content. That's your backbone. That's your structure. That's why whenever we're working with clients and we're telling them, hey, let's get started, make sure that everything's connected. Some of them will say, okay, let's wait. Let's wait a month. Let's wait 3 months. In my mind, I'm like, if you could just connect this one time, do the right thing, come back 3 months and look at your data and ask yourself, what do I want to show up for? You'd be happier that you spend 3 months gathering data organically than thinking about what to talk about when you're ready to start because you have no idea what has happened between the last 3 months in your competitive market, your search market. So that's why it's easily important to think about starting at the top of the month and thinking about it within a 28-day cycle. And when you do that 7 times 4, then you're able to know exactly how your audience also responds to your network. There are some weeks in the month that people may not listen to you. Even though they're super hardcore fans, there's something they might be doing on the 3rd week of the month that is important to them that they'll catch you on the 4th week. So you can't control anybody's time. So what you can only do is provide quality time when they show up so that you can provide that time that they can stay with you as opposed to choosing somebody else over you. And that requires a lot of patience, diligence, consistency, and just learning. And that's how you're able to grow with your audience. So that's where it starts from. And I remember yesterday I talked about blog/keyword. And John, I talked about it too. I would love to know, did you try it out? Did you see anything different? And if you noticed something on the net, were you able to implement that to what you're doing?
No, I've put more. I did do that very quickly, and I'm walking my dog, so I can't remember, to be honest with you, what the results were. I did try the blog and the keyword blog/police, whatever it was, and mine showed up, which was good. But to be honest with you, I'm more concerned with and this was a part of that tool. So I'm more concerned with the standard SEO and getting the most bang for the buck to Google and DuckDuckGo and all that stuff than I am AI.
I love that. Thank you, John. And that's what it should be. Because a lot of us are trying to rank for AI when we don't rank for Google. And that's opposite. It's like building a website and then doing SEO after. It's not the way to go because you're going to be backpedaling, backlogging, and backdating content that you should have been forecasting with foresight. So it's just missed completely because when you have a website, your website is supposed to be that actual website that will take you to these search engines. When you have a car, it's the car that's going to take you to the highway. It's not your legs. Yeah, your legs will take you there, but you got to drive the car that's going to get you to the highway that you're going to drive on. So if your website is not driving any traffic, then yeah, your leg's there, but nothing is happening. Because nobody's seeing you, nobody is connecting with you, nobody's even aware that you're around because you're not even within the scope of networking. You know how they say your network is your net worth? The network is your Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi signal is low, there's no response, there's no transmission, there's nothing going on. It's a missed target. But if you're close to other links like yours that are talking about things that you talk about. The way Yelp, Wedding Wire, they're so notorious for that. Best 10 restaurants to eat in Hawaii. Best top 10 restaurants to eat in Oregon. You just see them there, boom, 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 boom. And you realize anybody that lives in any of those cities will find that link first. Why? Because they're within the library scope of the network. They wrote an article as a page to link somebody that lives in that city or that state to find that page conveniently on Google, where they frequently search. So it's not hard. It's just that we don't do that due diligence to get ourselves to that point where we can really look at the map and say, okay, if this is what we need to do to get to be the indexed as first, then let's get to that point. And the point is not even to get to stay first. The point is to stay relevant. And that's why nowadays with SEO, the game has changed, because it's no longer about your 10-minute article. Do you have a 10-minute conversation on a podcast or a book or a blog or a newsletter or a video that you can exemplify more than what you said in 10 minutes worth of a read? Because people are now looking for connections. People can't even tell between AI and real life on screen when you're looking at people visually looking at things online. So when you start realizing that your content needs to have context that drives emotion and passion, it's going to be a bigger game changer for you, so that you're not just focusing on ranking on ChatGPT, because I can tell you how to rank on ChatGPT and your audience is probably on Meta, or your audience is probably on cloud. Not because you don't know that, but it's just because you're focusing too narrowly on one thing. So when your website doesn't have links, those links cannot be cited, because owned media comes from your website. That's why you have a domain. When you put that domain and say, hey, click this link, you're telling someone to click this link from a certain source. Well, on Clubhouse, if you click the link above, it will take you to a link. I'll put another link so that you can also see the difference. When you now see these different links, these links are taking you to different destinations, right? And when you have a different destination, there's a different experience. Like when you go to your house, when you go to your room, when you go to your closet, you have a different experience. The kitchen is different from the living room. It's different from the garden. It's different from the driveway. It's different from what you're seeing, even though it's still the same house. It's still the same unit. It's still the same thing. But we're all putting things together to make sure that everything is coexisting and cohabiting, and at the same time collaborating for greater impact. So when we think about greater impact with search engines, the fastest way to get indexed by search engines is by entrusting that your content can be seen, heard, and remembered by search engines that are frequently looking for sources that cite pages like yours. That's how to do it. And that starts off with building connections by answering questions and using Google as your best friend. You know, Google is your best friend. So when you see Google connecting the dots, Google is going to tell you exactly what Google is saying. If you search for something, you're going to see exactly what it is. But the result you get is going to give you more of those sources. And then when you look at ChatGPT and you ask the same question, you'll also notice there are little annotations, right? The little tags, the little things that you see there in numerical formats, or in little, I'll call them thumbnails too, or favicons. When you look at those buttons or clicks, they're going to take you to different sources, different citations. That's why when you look at AI overview, you can read the text, but you're going to see a hyperlink on the bottom right corner that's going to link you to the actual page. When you click on that page, it shows you a highlighted text of the web page in yellow to tell you that this is a section of the page that somebody wants to understand more of, because that came in form of a question. So when you have a question answer form based web page, then your page can now be indexed by the search engines when you have manually connected your websites, and then you've also automatically automated your websites. Because it's not just Google, but Google, even if you're on Google, that's great. That's a great start. You don't have to be everywhere, but you just need to start from somewhere. So start with Google, start with that connection and build from there. And when you start thinking about these connections, it will help you grow. So when you're either doing manual indexing or auto indexing, that's how you're going to start connecting the dots. Because when you start making changes on your website, those changes are going to be seen periodically through a different time cycle. So that's how it can change a lot. Judith, I wanted to ask you too, when you said my website isn't engaging enough and underutilized, let me ask this question. When did you notice the most activity on your website, and what happened if that happened? What would have caused that to happen? I'd love to know that, because when you said my website isn't engaging enough and underutilized, I'd love to know, are people coming to book, inquire, leave their contact, call, learn from you, work with you, partner with you? I would love to really know that. And I feel like this would help me help you, because I wouldn't know much just by what you said, but I'd love to know more too. Austin says, big fan of these education rooms via Favor. Thank you. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate you. And hey, hi. Glad to have you here. It's been a while. And Boss too. Thanks for being here. Biplane, I see you. Anton, Tina, Mark, Okbe, Carl, Cheryl, JP, Chris, Unique, Ruth, Renee, American Supermom, Reggie, Julie, John Pierre. Thank you for being here. So we got 5 more minutes to go because I need to get into a call. So if you have any questions, please put in the chat. If you don't, then I think the room is clear. But yes, Pierre, let's go. Any thoughts, questions?
One quick tip I'm going to leave for everybody too is, and Favors touched upon this, and not just with this room, but other ones about content. Keep in mind that, content can feel a little overwhelming because it's a very general word, and all of us marketers know that. But the thing is, what you want to do as a business owner is really think about those topics you want to focus on, and also think a little bit about the guardrails. And what I mean by guardrails are things like, products or services that you want to be known for, rather and the ones that you don't want to be known for. So for example, to the apple cobbler and the peach cobbler, there's a world of difference between the customer who is looking for a finished cobbler versus somebody who may be looking for a recipe. So that those two different actions will dictate the type of content you put together. The one for the recipe building might be, what are the things that you would, what's the type of butter that might be great for creating the crust. Where the other one might be more of a, what are the things that, why would you want to come purchase a cobbler from our bakery? Those things do come up. And even if you're not the SEO person doing it, as a business owner, you should be giving your SEO people some guidelines on what you're offering and what you wouldn't offer, because that will help them to develop the options. Follow the tips that Favor is bringing and develop some options that would fit your business. I can't tell you as an analytics person how many times people say, "Hey, I need help with my SEO." But the next question I'm going to ask is, I usually will ask, what did you try? And what are the things that you want to be known for? And those sort of things can help guide the conversation a little bit on the content and not make it feel so overwhelming to try, too many things that may not fit. And then one last tip I'll say here, Favor, I try to be polite here because I'm not trying to hog the conversation, but if you're doing a new product or new service, the follow-up can always is a big part of this for SEO as well too. And that could be, if you're introducing something new, you're going to have to explain to your customers, what's the benefit of that new product or service? How does that make their lives easier, or how does it benefit them? The SEO will take a little bit of time to do, but at the same time, you have there's a progression that you can develop from there that will help people understand who you are. And whether it's introducing a new product, or even if you're just reintroducing yourself, you have a number of things that I think with AI now, you have a really good opening to kind of step forward and step up your game. So if you haven't in the past, don't don't beat yourself up. Just know that there's some good opportunities here, and tips that like Favor is giving are great ones that you can use for your business.
Thank you, Pierre. Yeah, it's definitely a big tool, a big time to use these tools. There's a company I talked to. I talked about Fathom before, and John, the company reached out to me, so I'm talking through email with them too, because they're building their product, and it's a very beautiful product, and it's like, okay, this is the alternative to Google Analytics, and I'm seeing different things that I don't see on some basic tools. So it's like if you pay for some tools like SEO gets too, you get to see a little bit beyond what you get. And that's going to allow you to scale, because there's one article that I wrote, and this was about, when was this posted? Let me just check the link itself. It was posted. Let me click on it real quickly. I want to get the right date for you. So this was, let's see, okay, it's opening. Today's August 8th. Yeah, June 27th. Yeah, that's about 2 months. This article on Google Search Console is hitting over 500,000 impressions. And what am I talking about? Keyword tools. Because I realized people are looking for tools. And if in 2 months I've grossed over 500,000 impressions, that means I can go back to 500,000 impressions and retarget them with an updated version of the same page they saw in June. So it's really up to you to decide, how do you want to show up online? What do you want to do with the information you have, and how can you vocalize it and also amplify it through using podcasts, linking? It's not just, oh, it showed up on Google and went to 500,000. It's because you're putting it on platforms, you're anchoring text with hyperlinks that are connected back to servers that drive domain traffic and domain authority. So it's just about how you place it. Positioning equals to sales. It's how you position yourself that how people respond. So I hope this helped. This was a great conversation. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, John, for being here too. Julie, America's Supermom, Renee, Ruth, Unique, Chris, Mark, Carl, Cheryl, Anton, Tina, Hayden, thanks for being here. Hi, Boss and Judith. Hope this helped y'all today. I'll be talking about another topic. I'll be doing this probably tomorrow. I'll be talking about, how do I know if my website is penalized by Google? That's going to be a very interesting topic. So we have 52 topics to go through. So sit back. It's going to be a long ride, but I'm excited that you're going to be here with us. So looking forward to connecting. If you have any questions, please click the links on my page. You'll find me here. You're welcome, Anton, anytime. Thank you for your wisdom too. Thank you for being here, because sharing with you is caring, and I love that we're able to be here and connect. So listen to We Don't Play podcast show. Listen to us here on the Marketing Club, and just try something new for the first time and see how far that takes you. Because I've tried a lot of things for the first time, and I'm surprised by the things that I see just because of consistency. So taste and see that things will happen for you if you put the right things into action. So thank you for listening. Have a blessed day, and I'm going to see you guys. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to see y'all soon.
You too, Favour.
You're welcome. Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11, and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back, so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those 4, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you.